Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rebirth, a D&D Tale, Session 20. In the last instance where we left off, the Lucky Sevens had been waiting on a call of sorts from their newest minor sort of cult leader, Darren, a hairless tabaxi who has been in contact with some of the people that have been instructing them, their particular little group, to unearth and sort of loosen the dirt around certain graves. And in staking out the situation after Darren and his group did as they were instructed and had left, the party realized that a second group, with a couple of guards and a couple of mages, had come through to the graveyard and began unearthing the bodies completely and began to instruct them to walk. Skeletons and ghosts and zombies of all kinds started to kind of flood into the area as the as things started to get a little tense. The party found themselves attempting to stop most of the crew. The guards and two of the mages got away, but they were able to capture the last after reviving him after killing him. And so, the crew, the Lucky Sevens, collected themselves back at Father Masterson's little church, where they intend to question this individual. So, all of you, all of the Lucky Sevens, Darius, Vanya, Rune, Kinwin, Lagan, you find yourselves all together with this necromancer. And so your intention is to question him, yes. So who would like to start in? He's a little bit shaken and seems to be kind of closed off. His posture is very closed. His clothing has been replaced by some very very sort of meager monk's robes, and Darius, you've come back after earning a little bit of coin from the day that you spent sort of pickpocketing possibly wealthier individuals than yourself. So, make me a quick sleight of hand check. We'll see how much on that die roll you were able to get. You're muted.
Best roll of the night, natural 20.
Ooh, lordy. Ooh, lordy.
For 29.
Ooh, hoo, hoo. Well, I say that is well enough to earn you 29 gold.
Heck yeah.
And you might have even swiped a trinket.
Ooh.
So, but we'll come back to that if it becomes important. It's a necklace with a gem in it. It looks like it's valuable, so you'll have to do some more investigating since you've had a cursory glance of it so far. But further investigating to determine if there's anything more to it will have to go on. But the whole crew you see is at this little church, kind of crammed in, with Father Masterson sort of watching and waiting, kind of behind you all with Lagon, who seems to have stepped back just a little bit, and the individual that you have secured him with ropes, but he looks like he's not interested in going anywhere. So, what would you like to do?
Upon Darius entering the temple, Rune would have approached. I have need of you to contact the Dragonborn.
Can do.
He looks over the captive. So it would seem that we've captured one of these informants. To get you up to date, we'll be interrogating them. Trying to get what information them before Sarix approaches.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, so like you want me to go now to go get Sarex while we're uh before we interrogate him, obviously, but like during the interrogation, or we're going to interrogate him and then I can leave to go.
I'll leave that to your best judgment. Of course, we want to get the most information we can out of him. But
I'll stay for a little bit and then see what we can get, and if it looks like we're not getting much more, I'll head off at that point to go see if we can meet up.
Rune nods. It is appreciated.
I start pulling out my daggers. If we're gonna do this, let's do it right.
Let's not get too crazy.
I'm not gonna lose anything. They'll stay attached.
What are you what? He's finally looking up at the rest of you.
I just start like.
You can tell that he's already sort of bloodied and things like that. He's barely hanging on.
Rune approaches the individual. Out of character,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what to ask that we haven't already asked about.
Okay. Then make me an if you kind of want to just because he's not really going to be competing against us. He has no desire to hold back anything from you. So, so any questions that you do have to ask, as far as that goes, I'm going to consider that an automatic win. And so you can essentially ask him anything you want.
Okay.
So what do you want to know?
Who do you serve?
He hesitates a moment, but realizes that there's no use in doing so. The Whispered One. The Master of us all. But if the person in charge of this whole operation, I don't think you're going to like it. But you don't look like
Come
you're
on,
residents
Zach.
of the city. Because there's a whole chain and there's multiple cells and he'll put an end to me.
Urine may be kind, Mother, or not, he finds out.
Running my daggers up and down his arms at this point.
He's kind of tearing up and kind of weeping. Just don't send me back to her. Just don't send me back to her.
Or who?
The Reaper.
I have a proposal for you. Give us as many names as you can where these organizations and safe houses can be located. And from there, using our current contacts, we will devise you a protection system. And you can spend the rest of your time within the material world, avoiding the crucifixion within afterlife.
Lord Kaiji. Lord Kaiji.
He who vies for the throne.
Yeah.
And this isn't the first we've heard that, right?
No. Darren also mentioned it. Has Lord Kaiji always been within this operation, always been this way?
No. It's recent. He found something. He found something at the ziggurat.
At this, Rune, his eyes shift, honing in on the cultist. What is your name?
Maxton.
Maxton.
And he's human. From what you could tell.
With this, Rune is calculating in his head just a series of sequences as to how he is going to more or less protect Maxton going forward,
Okay.
but at the same time, utilizing him as a retainer, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Maxton.
Yeah.
As I said before, we can offer you protection, but you have to answer to us.
You can't protect me from him. He'll find out. He always knows. My life
How
is
does he
in-
find?
He always knows.
How does he find this information? How could he?
I don't know what he found, but maybe that was it.
How long ago did he find this thing?
Rumors say that he found it several years ago. Maybe 20, maybe 30. Who
Yes.
knows?
I almost called you ST.
Hmm.
DM,
Mm.
how many years ago has it been since the ziggurat started unveiling? Do I know that information?
It's been slowly being windblown away for a couple of decades now.
So it could be presumed that, within like 20, 30 years ago,
Something like that.
when it was first revealed, that's when Kaiji promoted an expedition.
Yeah. And you do know that that for that expedition, things have been more or less paused right now because there are monsters and other such things getting in the way.
I see.
Can't even get close because there's rock monsters.
We need to develop a method to get close to Kaiji.
Might have it in already.
You do.
We don't know that it's reliable, though. We don't know what his reaction will be. He told us as much.
Mm. I suppose we will have to gauge it as we go about. If he does not believe by what we say is true, then we will have to prove it. Maxton,
Mm-hmm.
where does this organization get its resources? From which it houses its resources?
We're just told what to do.
Through sending?
Through ascending.
And you've never met with anyone higher up in the chain?
It sounds like Lord Kaiji. But why would he do that?
I mean, as you said, if he found something and it's corrupted him,
He's always been a very strict leader. For the 40 years I've been alive.
Then I suppose what we're looking at is we need to make a direct approach.
Approach the Lord directly? That's suicide.
Not if it's an invite.
He'd sooner have you killed.
We'll see. Your compatriots.
He's already killed other people I knew. I'm next.
We will see.
I've watched them die. Splayed into pieces like nothing was there. torn to ribbons. And nothing was there.
Kinwin, do you still have contact with your leadership? Your
Yes.
druid? Would you would your druidic order be willing to hold sanction, or find someone who can hold sanction?
It's possible. We can always ask.
Maxton,
Mm.
we have options for you. Lord Kaiji's influence is only as far as a country. Beyond that, it could be considered war. No matter how powerful he is, that would be a misstep.
That would cost hundreds of gold.
To simply move you. No.
Where would I go? My family's here.
So you said you're dead anyways if you go back. Can you go back to your family without putting them in danger?
Oh, God.
As I said before, Maxton, you answered to us. And as far as anyone is aware, during this time that we have you as a resource, you were already dead. But you need to give us some names. And when all is said and done, we will help you return. For the time being, you need to tell us who your compatriots were and where we can find them. You've been obliging to us.
Why, so you can
That-
kill them too?
To turn them in. We need evidence.
Turn them in? What, to the guard?
That is not your concern.
If you're gonna do that, they're dead.
What is more important to you? Yourself and your family circumstances, or these other necromancers and heathens pulled into a cult that which you have no power.
No, I'm not gonna be the reason that they die.
You said yourself they're almost as good as dead anyway if Lord Kaiji finds out.
That's on me.
You,
We could advocate for imprisonment instead of execution.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand. Lord Kaiji controls everything. Every person arrested for anything. You speak out against Lord Kaiji, you're arrested and you disappear.
Does that corruption that you've seen from him, people disappearing, people dying, is it everyone in his upper echelon under that influence?
You speak out. You speak out, you're dead. You speak out of turn, you're dead.
Maxton, you do not need to know the details of how this company operates.
I won't
What
sell
we
them
need-
out.
And why do you owe that loyalty?
Because they're my friends. They're
then you will
people
give
I
us
know.
someone.
They are committing abomination.
Darius,
Yes.
convince him to give us a name.
As I'm like digging down the arm, I go in just enough to start drawing blood.
And he definitely screams, and you hear from behind you, Father Master Sensei, "That's enough. That's enough. I won't have blood spilt in my church."
Wasn't he gonna let it hit the floor?
He is correct, though. Anyone who speaks up against Lord Kaiji is bound to be found out and either executed publicly as a traitor to the city, traitor to Argyll as a country, or you simply disappear. It's been that way for a long time.
I think the biggest traitor would be the one who killed the previous monarch.
Lord King Rojas is still very much alive. It is sad that the Crown Prince passed away.
Oh, right, the prince.
Prince Miguel was going to inherit the throne as the only child of King Rojas.
And now that he's gone, what are the chances Lord Kaiju might enter the throne?
Very high.
Look, if you have to know the specifics in order to convince you, the intent is to get close by playing as advocates. Officers for Lord Kaiji. And then provided the invite. That's when that investigation will carry way. We will determine ourselves the truth of this matter. We have an in. And we still need to determine the trustworthiness of the source. You have the decision of either implicating yourself in this matter or implicating others, Maxton. I have offered you an out, and we can assure it.
Surely there are others in your order that you could implicate that aren't your friends, the names you could give up.
We need evidence. You understand that it is either yourself or someone else that counts as that.
Then it'll be me.
I head out the door. I'm on my way to go see my contact.
Rune nods. He puts his hand on Maxton's shoulder.
He kind of looks away from you and doesn't lift his head again.
Nothing in vain. And Rune will walk over to Father Masterson and As he passes Father Masterson, he looks to him for a moment. My apologies. And he will continue on.
Father Masterson goes over towards the individual and starts pulling out bandages and things to 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 kind of cover up any wounds and treat him as best he can.
Rune steps outside for a moment, watching the street. He hates having to do things in such brute force. Everything about the circumstance is just chafing. Everyone implicated, their arms twisted to an extent that they essentially can't do anything other than squirm beneath the pressure.
Memories start to kind of build up in your mind a moment. You remember some of your peers way back when would do the same to their pets. Force them into service, discipline them harshly when they disobeyed. The screams of men, women, children kind of fled into your mind for a moment. It's the whole reason that you didn't like some of your colleagues way back when.
Needless cruelty, distraction from the truth.
Not when they were like her. They could sing, they could dance, paint. There's so many beautiful things.
Rune looks down at the dirt, wind blowing the dust. He listens to the crows in the far distance, flutter of their wings. Was it again? It was a sense of freedom, elation, contrived traditions that a society held were completely broken apart. By just a smile on her face.
What are the rest of you doing in that moment? Kinwin, Vanya?
I think after making sure that Lagan was there in case Father Masterson needed help with Maxton, Vanya would have followed Rune out.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of checking on him.
Seems a little lost in thought for a moment. What are you doing, Kinwin?
Still have the captured guy, right?
Yeah, you still have him. He's basically not talking anymore. He's just accepted whatever's going to happen to him.
I'd like to cast Healing Word on his cut on his arm.
Mm-hmm. So you're assisting Father Masterson in dressing his wounds. He's got a lot of them. He's very bloodied. He's very bruised, very broken, physically and mentally, it seems.
3 HP.
All right. Was there anything else you were going to do, though?
No.
So just helping to dress his wounds and with
Yes.
Father Masterson. Okay. And when you and Lagon and Father Masterson have finished sort of addressing the wounds on this person, Father Masterson looks at you and says, "Thank you for your help."
It's my job to heal those in need, even if they are my enemies.
I suppose you and I are alike in that regard, then.
One day, even they can come back to the light.
I like to think so, too. He kind of gives you a sort of big smile on his, sort of very flattened, very flat-like face. Darius, you have made contact, and the the person that you contact to get in contact with General Sarex is going to relay the message and convey the urgency, and hopefully you'll be able to see him tonight.
Would I have? I'm trying to decide if I would have told them to have him meet me at the church, or have him meet me at the bar, and we have a conversation before we go there.
Well, that's entirely up to you. Which would you like?
I kind of am leaning towards the bar just because I I believe before I left, Rune had even said, we don't know, or it might have even been me, that we don't know if we can trust him yet.
Okay. So you will kind of want to do a conversation with General Sarex before meeting him to the rest of the party?
Yes.
Okay. Then that can be arranged.
And then while I'm waiting on him, I just kind of want to check out this necklace.
Okay.
Just to fiddle with it, see if it does anything, if it's just a necklace, if it's what it is. So.
Make me an investigation check.
18.
18. It's well made. It seems to be made of gold. The pendant has a looks like a garnet. It's not very big. It's kind of small, but it's a garnet set in gold on a gold chain. And the maker's mark on the back of it, let's see, let me pull that up here, would be where did that go? It's from a local jewelry company, actually. It seems to be something that was made locally. and which is kind of impressive given that this place is, fairly devoid of any sort of farmland or anything like that. So they must get a lot of what they do from the different resources that could be found underground. So,
Got it. Not selling it here then.
it is from a local jeweler. Yes.
Yeah.
You kind of guesstimate the worth of it to be somewhere around 300 gold or so.
Okay.
Based on the gold amount and the sort of very beautiful sort of dark red color of the garnet.
Okay.
You've fenced similar things like this for a pretty penny, so
Yeah. Having fenced them before, I know not to shit my own backyard. So.
Exactly. But otherwise, it doesn't seem to have much other, uniqueness to it. It's simply well made.
Okay. Cool. That's what I wanted to know.
All right. And as you're checking that out, you do find yourself at, was it Bell's Bar that you wanted to meet at?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she's closed up for the night because it is very late. But you can meet out in front of the bar.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so, when you arrive and are sort of waiting for a moment, you see that General Sarix, in that cloak, he's kind of a big, burly, sort of armored individual with a cape on at the moment, but you could still see that it's just that same sort of burly dragonborn figure underneath it. But in tow with him is someone who is also kind of dressed a little, a little cover of night sort of, in that regard, but is much smaller in build. And as he approaches, you do see that he's kind of got this sort of graying white beard, kind of hanging fairly low on his neck. And the both of them are sort of walking towards you.
I'm just kind of leaned up against the bar, waiting on him to fully approach.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let him talk first.
Mr. Bliss?
General? See, you have company?
Yes, a very close personal friend of mine. Mr. Kurobe Watanabe.
And they can be trusted?
I've trusted with him with my life several times, so yes.
You know this city a little better than I do. Talking out here in the open probably is not the safest.
No.
Didn't realize the bar would be closed by the time I got here. So, where should we go that we can talk in private?
It is very late. I didn't expect to be called out so late in the night, if I'm to be honest.
I assure you, I have my reasons.
Better.
But we need to have a conversation before.
Before then.
Yes.
I understand. So he kind of starts walking very, very quietly with you both in tow, and kind of leads you towards a very sort of quiet, looks like a storehouse. It's kind of in the back of an alleyway, a very narrow sort of alleyway, kind of out of the sight and out of the earshot of most people. And so he kind of leads you back in there, kind of behind, some buildings in a sort of, it's a fairly cramped space. So, What did you want to say?
I'm sure you remember our last conversation that the question was asked, what if all signs point to Kaiji? How will you react?
And you see that his eyes kind of narrow at you. And you think I have a different answer now?
I believe the answer then was, I don't know how I would react. I need something more than that. From what I'm told, anyone speaks out against Kaiji, they disappear. They're killed or publicly executed. I can't afford that.
He just kind of watches you and waits for you to continue speaking.
I mean, until I have an answer, I don't know that I have much more to say. It's a non-starter.
He kind of puts a hand on his hip, lets his cape kind of drape past, and then you can see the sword on his belt. And just so that you're aware that he is carrying his weapon. Mr. Bliss, if I truly didn't want this case solved, regardless of the outcome, I wouldn't have gone to you and your lucky sevens, I think you called yourselves. I do still want answers. Even if I don't like the answers.
Have you noticed Kaiji acting differently lately? Even lately as a relative term, 20, 30 years?
I've known him quite a long time. And I believe you asked me this previously as well. And my answer still stands. It is a little strange. He's always been the sort to always want his way. He's always been a go-getter.
But not one to be as ruthless as he has been as of late.
He's been ruthless ever since he became Lord. That changes nothing. He was ruthless before that time. That changes nothing. However, with all the strangeness and oddities that's been going on lately, I will admit to you and no one else, because should you say a word, I will kill you.
Hardly welcome it. But I shall not say anything.
His methods have always been a little more than I care to taste. An iron fist. Yes. but I've started to question our friendship.
Well, at this point, I can tell you, all signs point to Kaiji. We have captured someone that was raising some of the dead, and we interrogated them. And as I said, all signs point to Kaiji.
Somehow I suspected you were going to say that. Your vagueness was telling. It wasn't as vague as you thought.
You would like to question this person yourself. We still have him bound.
I will take him myself. If you go through the proper chains, he will die.
We hope to not have that happen. We
I don't think you have a choice in that matter anymore. You can give him up to anyone. Who's to say he doesn't disappear anyway?
Unless we disappear him ourselves.
Do you have the resources to do that, young man? You work out of the slums.
It means nothing.
Means everything.
You know nothing of our resources.
You may dress a little above your station, but you stay at Father Masterson's church, don't you not?
For the time being.
For the time being. Because if you could afford the sort of luxury that the nobles could afford, you wouldn't be here.
No, we would still probably be where we were. It's called using our resources wisely. Why?
Gold is power here.
That is the problem with nobles. Yes, gold can be power, but once you have it, you think yourself better than others. I can tell you, I've seen more riches from those that have had no gold, not a copper to their name. Gold does not make the man.
I was very much hoping that you weren't making that a personal attack on my character.
I was not. But if you continue to look down your nose at me, well,
You are shorter than myself, I have to. And you see this kind of toothy dragon-like grin on his face.
Fair point, fair point.
You are a small man.
I look at him and about how tall is the person he came with Kurobe?
Kurobe is about 6 foot.
Um, let me double check the wording of my spell. Because I do believe disguise self, I can appear taller up to a foot.
You can.
So I am going to disguise self as Kurobe to be about hopefully be at least tall enough that he's not looking down his nose at me. But it will have to be to look like
So,
yeah.
disguise self, does it have a somatic component?
I will let you know. I'm gonna have to look at D&D Beyond for that.
Because it does have a verbal, I know that for sure.
Yeah, I don't have it on this sheet. Uh, I'm probably sure it does.
Nah, I can look it up too, so.
Yeah. I'm almost there.
Oops. Might help if I actually check this.
Don't think it's gonna stop now. Verbal somatic.
Yep. So you do have to say something, you do have to gesture, and as soon as he sees you gesturing, he's going to hold his hand out and stop your gestures.
Just trust me. It is nothing dangerous. I just want to prove a point.
I understand your point, Mr. Bliss. Your point being that people are people and that they have more value than their gold pockets.
Yes.
And you think by your little magic trick that you were going to convince me otherwise?
It was the looking down the nose comment. I am sorry. I am a little sensitive about my height.
What is it about Eatlands that are like that? Strange creatures. But, shall we get to the actual point of this conversation?
By all means. I can take you. I mean, at this point, you said that you will take the person. I mean, that's the thing. You say he's gonna disappear anyways. We actually have some of our resources tied up in him, and if we can disappear him, we will disappear him. I would rather him not die.
Good luck. It takes hundreds of gold to get someone to disappear like you want.
Or knowing the right people. Greasing the right palms.
Again, you're proving my point. This city runs
Doesn't
on
matter.
money.
Doesn't matter where the money comes from. Just because it's not coming out of your pocket does not mean it's not coming out of somewhere. It's still expensive.
You're not wrong. Does not mean we do not have those resources.
Either way, are you taking me to him or not? Or are you wasting my time?
I mean, I would like some assurances you're not going to kill him on the spot, but
I have no intentions of doing so.
okay.
You, on the other hand,
I would like to see you try. And I start heading to the church.
This one is amusing.
if it wasn't for the fact that we're on business, Watanabe, I would actually take his head.
Can't always do things done the old ways.
I could try.
Come now. Let us get this business done. It is late.
Yes. Both getting too old for this overnight, sort of middle of the night bullshit.
Yes.
And he starts to walk ahead of you, Kurobe.
Yep, I'll just follow
Following
behind.
Darius.
I kind of turn around just a little bit. Apparently you already know where we're going, so would you like to lead the way?
Are you afraid you're going to get jumped by the guard?
Would it not look better if you were leading the way?
I'm not supposed to be here.
Again, if we come across the guard, isn't it going to be easier for you to come up with something if you are leading the pack? It looks a little odd.
You worry. You worry too much. It is too late for this. Let us get this done. And I'm just going to keep walking.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, when I turned, it was walking and talking. But
Yeah.
I mean, if he's not going to go walk in front of me, by all means, I'll lead him to the church.
He's not walking in front of you.
Okay. A little less chance for me to... Never mind.
He can see right through you.
I'm sure. If it didn't have as many components to it, he could really see right through me. For both somatic material for invisibility.
Yep. Yep, your little magic tricks. And so he walks with you. And we're going to cut away to Vanya and Rune for the moment. Is there anything you would like to do or say before Darius arrives with his companions?
When Vanya approaches Rune, he acknowledges her. He kind of steps aside so that she can easily stand beside him. I'll be honest, that I do not enjoy, by any means, having to use such brunt force with any of these cultists that we've interacted with.
I don't either, but it seems to be the way it's being done, unfortunately.
I contemplate it's a matter of the city. This Lord Kaiji's methods. But he speaks low, acknowledging that he doesn't necessarily want to speak too out loud with it.
Troublesome all around.
How about you? Are you holding up well?
Well, as can be expected, given the fight tonight and everything else. Here you are checking on me, and I came out to check on you.
I've yet to fall. I imagine as long as I still have my primary circuitry. He kind of looks at his hands confusedly, almost. Then all should be well.
Actually had me worried out there. Actually, a lot of you did. Especially when that fireball came.
These cultists, necromancers, mages, they're more powerful than we're anticipating. And I won't deny, if we do get an in, it will be incredibly dangerous. Vanya. Going forward, I have a request of you.
What is it?
If the situation gets too dire, myself and Lagan fall to our knees. I need you to get away.
You're asking me to do what feels impossible. It took a lot of willpower not to jump in after you guys were hit by that fireball. The only thing I can promise is I will try to fight that instinct.
Good. Because I need you to make the exploration and journey back to that dragon fort. If our mission does not succeed, at the very least, I want you to have a future.
Well, hopefully it won't come to that. And there's a bit she's leaving unsaid at the moment. But she is going to reach over and take hold of his hand again.
Rune looks to Vanya. And he maintains eye contact the best that he can. And Vanya feels him squeeze his hand somehow warm. Vanya, you get the sense in some way, shape, or aspect he might be afraid of what's to come.
She's going to squeeze back and just maybe lean up against him a little bit. Until that point, I'll be here with you. Regardless.
And I with you. And feeling her lean on him, he'll go ahead and take his hand up and just gently move her hair over her ear, and then back down to her hand. And I imagine at that point, they kind of happen to see Darius in the distance.
Mm-hmm. It's a little hard to miss a purple tiefling amongst a plethora of beast folk, even though it's very dark and very much a empty street at the moment. With two cloaked figures walking behind him.
I believe that happens to be Syrinx.
More than likely.
Rune tilts his head a bit. His eyes zoom in on the cloaked figures.
You have dark vision, right?
No.
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 Well, they kind of look like a big burly dark figure and a slightly thinner dark figure. And Darius has never been the kind to really mute his presence in the way that he dresses or in his sort of very vibrant purple skin tone.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of swaying his sort of tufted tail back and forth as he walks.
Very
Rune,
animated.
Rune goes back into this sort of like business mode. Once he notices that they're within eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
With that, he approaches. He's gonna go up to Darius first, and just kind of quietly lean in to speak to him. Recognize Syrinx's outline. Who's the other?
Friend of Syrinx. I was told he could be trusted.
Descriptive. Rune will appoint himself.
And Syrinx will make a gesture towards the church where you had both previously been standing.
Welcome. We'll make this quick.
Yes. That's... And he kind of follows you all towards it.
And once they're inside, Rune is just going to go over basically everything that they've uncovered with the interrogation and summarize it up with if you want to check for yourself. He's in that room over there.
Thank you. And Syrinx will excuse himself from the rest of the party and go and speak with Maxton, leaving the rest of you to speak amongst each other. The 6 of you, 7 of you with Lagon. No,
Rune
6.
looks over to the
6. I'm sorry.
6. Yep.
And Zephyr.
Rune looks over and Zephyr.
Yes, and Zephyr.
Rune's gonna address this other cloaked figure. I don't believe I've met you yet.
Don't believe you have. ST, would I know what Rune is? Have I ever encountered anything like this before?
He looks like a man kitted out in in heavy plate armor, like head to toe, just kitted out, which is
Okay,
somewhat
so
strange at
it
this
just
time
looks
of
like a
night.
person in armor to me.
Yeah,
Hmm. Okay.
it's very beautiful armor, but it's armor.
I'll just kind of give an appraising eye around to everybody. Yes, I suppose introductions should be the best thing. Pleasantries are sometimes fall by the wayside. I am Kurove. You can
I'm having a really
say
hard time
I'm
hearing
a
you.
friend.
Oh yeah, you're breaking up real bad.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Am I? Oh, something was loading.
Oh,
Shitty internet, sorry. Um, yes, I suppose, pleasantries sometimes fall by the wayside. I am Kurove. You could say I'm a friend in this endeavor. I am pretty much loyal to this town.
I see.
And you all are? If you
Rune.
excuse me for a second.
Yep.
I'm going, like, he'll kind of pull his cloak back, and he has a rather large sword that was underneath of his cloak with him that he's going to lean against the wall and go. He's like, they've been walking for a while. If you don't mind, I'm going to have a seat. And he's going to find some place to sit down and look around at everybody.
yep. In this front room, there are the pews for the church that kind of sit in front of a sort of a small altar that this is a relatively small and not very ornate uh, uh, a presentation of the that's dedicated to the Soul Forger, and so you can definitely see some very sort of you see the iconography, but it's all kind of relatively inexpensive, like wooden carvings and things like that, or altars made of sandstone. You know, common materials that are not very expensive, um, and so that's
Utilitarian.
it's very much a place of utility rather than beauty. And being that you're in the slums, it makes sense. Um, so this is definitely a slums version of a church. But it's clear that the
Forgive me
iconography
for
is the Soul
interrupting.
Forger.
Okay. Forgive me for interrupting. You were saying?
We refer to ourselves as the Lucky Seven. That said, my name is Rue. This is Vanya. Lagan. Over here is Kinwin
Greetings.
and Darius.
Pleasure. Him I have met. He is amusing.
The dog's name is Zeph.
Vanya Zephyr is
Always
actually
rather
staying next
liked-
to your legs. He's not going and introducing
Always
himself.
liked animals.
When Rune says his name, she's just gonna reach down and give him a little bit of a head scratch.
And he's been getting big. Like he's up to his head goes up to your waist now.
God, and she's pretty damn tall. She's almost 6 foot herself.
Mm-mm-mm.
Well, maybe one day he'll I've always rather
Maybe.
liked animals more than people. They are quite more straightforward and predictable.
And from what you can see, that this man has stark white hair, beard, and eyebrows. He is a little bit wrinkled and kind of sits with a little bit of a hunch. It's obvious that he's well aged.
You are a traveler. Or are you a guard?
No, I guess I was much like you guys are now. I had a group that I ran with. We took on jobs, we took on missions, we did our good deeds. It was a good life.
I see. So you were a seasoned mercenary.
Yes. Though we didn't just take any job. We always had a bit of a code we lived by. Something that we wouldn't compromise for, not even for money.
Kurobe, you're gonna see Rune pull out his journal, and he's gonna start drawing he's gonna start drawing, you notice, and taking down notes.
Yeah.
Where do you pull this journal out of?
Okay.
I imagine he pulls it out of the same chest cavity area that he has his the book that the professor gave him. It just pulls it out of his stomach and then closes it.
Thank God it wasn't the Luigi pocket.
Okay. I thought that you were a man in metal armor, but it doesn't. Normally, they don't reach into their chest blood.
My apologies. I forget that there are certain sensibilities to be had.
Oh. No, it is nothing that you did. It's just. I am just quite curious now. That is all.
Aren't we all?
There was no misstep. But, yes, as you said, I was a seasoned mercenary. We had our adventures. Eventually, we got old. We were lucky. Me and another friend, we started a adventurers guild. And, well, it has been that way for years.
I see. And from that point, how did you come across, or rather get involved with Syrinx here?
No matter how far I traveled, I always, well, there's no place like home. And when we came here, you always take and defend your home. When I found out about the rumors of things happening, I just couldn't sit by in the guild hall and assign missions, have other people deal with it. I had to do something.
And how much are you aware of up until this point?
much would I have been informed of by the general?
He's probably kept it pretty vague at the moment, and so, but he has confided in you a little bit about his worries that things are going to start to get out of hand, and he's he's definitely informed you, coming down this way, that he is in contact with and some adventurers who are doing some of the investigating on the ground level where he can't be.
Okay.
Because he has to maintain his station.
Yes. I am aware of some of the rumors, some of the fears. Enough that I couldn't sit around anymore. So I had to try to do something while I still got a little bit of kicking.
I see. And Rune is just like furiously writing down notes about everything that you're more or less saying. At this, he's gonna look to the rest of the party. He closes the book with a kind of a pretty pronounced point to it, and then the chest cavity opens up, places the book and pen back inside, and you do see, besides his journal, there is another like fairly thick book inside of him. But and like right behind that, you actually see what appears to be like a spinal column and many wires leading up to him. But it's just like a quick flash, and then he closes.
How long have you all been investigating this?
Since we've arrived. It's been a few weeks now. When we first arrived in the city, unfortunately, we were met with the raising of the dead, as they attacked in broad daylight.
We've
Yes.
been investigating it ever since.
Well, it does my heart good to see that the adventurers would take on such a task in a place that they just arrived.
There are some of us within this party that have religious purposes behind that intent. But I can only speak for myself.
Well,
My intent is simple. I want to understand the whys of this. And more so than that, put an end to it. The magic is taboo
listen,
within reason.
sometimes the simplest answers and reasons are the best.
Agree. Rune is at that point just kind of like gonna go silent. He will set himself next to a wall and just watch the rest of the group. but he doesn't necessarily break eye contact from Kurobe. And Kurobe, you recognize the way he positions himself because you are a seasoned veteran. You recognize that the fact that he's placed himself kind of at near the within eyesight of both entrances of the room and able to see everyone as well, but not breaking eye contact with you, that he does potentially see you as suspicious. He's on very much a defensive.
You would just see a small smirk play upon Kurobe's lips. I find this very amusing, and thinking to myself, this is a eclectic bunch. I think, should the general have me work with them, it might bring back a little bit of liveliness to me. This would be great.
It's shortly after that that you see that Sarex is coming back out with the necromancer in hand, and he speaks up to you all. All right, I'll take care of this. Kurobe, I want you to remain here. I don't doubt that if what this man says is true about Lord Kaiji, that there is the potential that these people would be in danger. In danger from his lordship's assassins. And we can't have the people who are helping us in this matter suffer that fate, now can we?
It is not ideal. General Sarex.
Yes.
This investigation so far has taken us closer to the sun, like to really acknowledge, I'm sure.
The same with myself.
But that being said, careful footing, we do have to continue this. I'm not willing to take down the lordship, or even so much as make such accusations without definitive proof.
Same with myself.
So I have a request of you.
Of course.
Under the guise of any formal events, would it be possible to gain some sort of sponsorship within Lord Kaiji's own castle or manor? Get close to him. Maxton has mentioned Lord Kaiji has come under possession of a very particular art that might be influencing. That somehow this has to do with the ziggurat within the desert.
Yes, so I've been able to determine. In that.
ST.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, would that be within my power, being the leader of a guild, maybe a little bit of local cult, that I might be able to get some hangers on and attend these things? I'm not a high-level diplomat, but I am still a figure in the city.
You are definitely a public figure in the city. And there are the occasional sort of get-togethers for those of, clout or nobility. And so there is the possibility that such an event could be possible, but you also know that Lord Kaiji doesn't hold very many of them himself. That he's very much an isolationist. He rules from his tower and does not go anywhere else. Only rarely does he come out and actually address the city of any to any description. It's been some time since the public has seen his face at all.
I'll relay this kind of, like, basically thinking out loud. If such an event were to come, I might be able to help. That way it would keep you clean in general, and you can still be working from the shadows, as it were.
Yes, because if I were
I don't mind putting my face in front of this.
Yes, because if I were to make any visible stance against him, I would suffer the same fate as anyone else. He does not take kindly to those who hate him. I'm sure you've noticed no one in this city hates him. He says that with a bit of an undertone that you definitely know that there are people who are scared of him but will not say anything against him. Bell included, among those people that you've seen. And for the rest of you in Crudo Bay, you definitely know that many of those who would be likely to say anything simply don't. They simply stay unopinionated. They don't talk about it. They just move on to another subject if they don't want to talk about Kaiji.
Of course. We've observed this. And are dictating ourselves with the same expectations.
I will see if I can get personally close to Lord Kaiji and see if there's anything in his collection that's rather new, being that we are friends.
Perhaps a suggestion.
I'm listening.
Would it be unusual for those of the city to celebrate Lord Kaiji? Or for him to have the nobility join him in a celebration of himself? If we come under the guise and implications that we are there to also celebrate him as a company that is assisted in matters of the city, that might give us the end that we need.
If he is pronounced prince, then perhaps that is a good enough celebration. But that has not happened as of yet.
If that happens, is it not too late?
I don't know. I don't know how many years.
At least another.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I would just say it would add another layer of complication, but nothing is impossible.
Yes, because then we would be working off of going against a crown prince.
Ideally, we do not want to fall under circumstances in which he has more power.
We cannot allow him to ascend.
Sorry, what was that?
We cannot allow him to ascend to the throne or the princess.
The only other candidate is farther behind when it comes to public popularity. Not that it's necessarily the public's opinion that matters in this moment, because King Rojas definitely has the final say. But Kaiji is definitely in greater favor with our crown king. A man who can get the job done without having to resort to complications.
And what other opportunities do we have?
Well, it's
Yes,
not
what is our
unusual for
way forward?
it's not unusual for the nobles to have their own parties, but convincing Lord Kaiji to attend one of these parties is going to be difficult at best.
When's the last party you threw?
Myself, I generally don't like parties. I am I am a war machine. I am not the type to schmooze with the nobility. As you have said, they look down upon those who are different from them, and I am clearly not beast folk.
Then let us try this method. Would it be unusual for said nobility to hold the festivities within Lord Kaiji's manor?
Within the public spaces, no, it's not unusual. But Lord Kaiji is often not at his regular manor.
He
His
is
regular
not.
manner is often very public, and, well, he's not a very public man anymore.
Where is it that he usually holds himself?
Even I don't know that. He only comes out when he needs assistance for something. And for me, it's quelling some rebellion or going to a skirmish of some kind versus one of the other provinces.
He even keeps himself hidden from his friends.
Which is unusual. That's a development that's happened over the last few decades. He's an old bird,
General.
but he's not that old. Yes, Kudobe.
What do you think our next move should be? You know me, in the middle of a battle, I'm a good tactician, but when it comes to overviews, I'm more of a wedge, and you need to find me a crack to stick.
Well, I don't dislike this idea of you all attending some kind of ritzy party to try and get close to the other nobility. I guess it falls upon me to convince Lord Kaiji that he should attend. I suppose.
Then we might have one other option.
Mm,
This other runner as prince.
yes.
We shall see if we can get them to attend. And that might be a factor that Kaiji will have to consider. Will it not?
It would. But of course, being another province lord would be tricky, but doable, I think. I've had very decent conversations with his lordship, and well, perhaps that's something to consider.
Then I believe we have a plan. Is anyone else in opposition?
Sounds better than no plan at all.
Always, but you know best.
Shusuke Hiro, an earth genasi from the northern plains. He is the lord of that province, makes his home in the town of Whiteridge, and, well, is fairly respectable. I definitely would say that most of his constituents are very fond of him.
What was that name again?
Shusaku, Shuusaku, Hiro, Hiro.
Lord Sakuhiro. All right. We will make the travel. Chances are our services may be requested before it. Favor for a favor, if you will.
And from what I understand, Lord Hiro is definitely the type to go completely all in on the decadence of an event. He likes to throw wild parties. And I'm sure we can lure him in with some Kombe wine. Am I right, Watanabe?
Well, one of the things we're known for. One of the better things, actually. It doesn't like you the second day, though.
That's very true, depending on the kind that you get. Well, any other questions for me?
Will you be alright escorting him alone?
I'll be fine. I'm not exactly a delicate flower.
I would say not, being you're dragonborn.
Well,
Vanya's just got this little bit of a teasing smile on her face.
well, I would hope. After all, descendants of the great platinum dragon himself, we ought to be. It is in our nature.
Stay vigilant, my friend.
And to you. And with your necromancer friend, he begins to walk out with him in tow.
Rune watches Maxton. And when Maxton notices Rune watching, he just averts his eyes.
Maxton barely even looks up from the floor. He looks about as dejected and emotionally battered as he does physically battered. And the two of them walk away out into the night with General Sarek pulling up his hood and walking with him sort of nonchalantly in the night, leaving the rest of you.
Do I notice Rune kind of looking? I apologize for talking over you, Coffee. It's with my internet being so screwy, it's hard to time things.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. But you were wanting to see if you could notice notice that Rune is being
Rune was
averting his gaze.
a little melancholic kind of deal. Yeah.
Rune doesn't exactly have a face to really determine that particularly. The helmet is definitely obscuring whatever face there might be, if there is one. You're starting to question that now. But he does have eyes that do have a gaze, so I would say this is a insight check at disadvantage.
Okay, disadvantage.
Yep.
Let's just see.
For context, Rune's eyes
First
are
roll.
these glowing yellow orbs that show expression best through like these aperture lenses that swivel in and out, and kind of like tend to tilt, almost like eyelids.
Cool. All right, first roll of the campaign, guys.
Yeehaw!
Yeah.
That's a 13, and that's a 14. 13. 21.
21. My goodness, even at disadvantage. You can tell that those yellow orbs within the eye sockets of the helmet seem to blink in a sort of like a camera shutter almost. To compare it to something that's like real life. When he blinks or closes his eyes, it kind of swirls closed, and when he opens them back up again, it kind of swirls back open. The You notice that those orbs though are very very akin to like a human's eyes, where they kind of roll around in the socket, as one would. So you can kind of read that those orbs avert themselves from the sight of Maxton when Maxton turns to look at him. And so the head turns and kind of looks away, with those orbs sort of finding something else to lock onto for a moment. And it's very human-like behavior, even though you think this might be a machine.
Okay. I'll kind of get up and saddle over next to Roan. He got to choose his own fate at the end. We should all be so lucky. I would not feel bad about it.
You chose nothing. Rune will actually leave. You can see his fists are clenched as he walks out the door again. There wasn't a single moment where he had a choice. And he'll leave with that again.
Mm. And I think that
There's always
is going to be where we take a
Sorry.
very quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes and return to find out what happens next with our Lucky Sevens. Don't go anywhere, everyone.